Alexander Williamson here with the secret history living in your aquarium. So, how's everybody doing? I was having a sand trap issue. That's my excuse for being late today. I have a bag of sand here, and I was washing it in the shower, and the bottom of the bag ripped out, and then it went all over the shower, which wife would not have been too happy with. So, how is everybody doing? How are we doing tonight? It's good to see everyone in here. Who do we got tonight? We've got all sorts of people. Aquaballs, Good Life Aquatics, Color Guppies, the Nano Aquarium guy, Eve Howard, your average fish keeper. Let's see here. Craig, what's up? Angie, hello. Ron, hello. New Local Austin, hello. Tennessee Aqua, what's up, buddy? T-Bone, hey, brother. Erna, hello. Welcome. Welcome from Belgium. Welcome to YouTube. Lady Diane, Gannon Garner, hello. Jim Williamson, Chansky85, hello. So, what's going on tonight, folks? What do you need help with? What do we want to talk about? So, let me just tell you guys a few things. Michael Harvey, hello. James, hello. Fish Shrimp by Rich, what's going on? Azaravian 2, good to see you. So, what's going on with my life? I'm going to take my hat off, it's hot in this fish room. But what's going on in my life is, well, last night we ordered one heck of a big order from Aquatic Arts, now didn't we? So, I wanted to be transparent in that. So they credited me a third of the value, and then I paid for 2/3 of it. So basically, right now they got a 30% off sale for Black Friday. Well, 20% off, and then 30% off the second chunk. So basically, I got the final deal a little earlier for being a spokesperson, so to speak. But they're a company that I really like, and they're already running out of the items, the fish, the shrimp, the food that people have been commenting about wanting so badly. So if you haven't checked out aquaticarts.com yet and you want to, I've got codes, and then we'll do a drawing for everybody who bought something, basically, who uses the code. I'll get the emails. Anonymously, we'll just draw one, so I'm not looking over everyone's emails, and then we'll be able to give away a prize, or maybe we'll just do it for everyone on the channel, something like that. But in any case, so that is your better deal. I mean, you can go get the Aquatic Arts deal that's straightforward, and 20% off and then 30% off, or you can get the exact same deal. Give me a little bit of a shout out, and in return that helps me stock the fish room. And also, we can use half of the money, basically, that I were to earn if the sale goes well, and we'll give it back to the community. So win-win for everyone, I would hope. I hope that sounds fair to everybody. Kevin, what's going on? Good to see you. Too Coolie for Schoolie, good to see you too. And Kelly Huff, hello, welcome. I'm glad to be back, that is for sure. Let's turn around and see what's going on in here, other than, you know, the ceiling and my mug. So, if you watched the Blackwater video I posted last night, I cleared out the tank here of everyone but the Episto, who can tolerate very low pH water. Some Malua shrimp, who can tolerate about 6.0 low water, and some, or a pair rather, of my albino gouramis. Now, you can already see that the filter, with all the other fish gone, the rainbow fish, and about 20 barbs, rosy barbs that were in there, there is an algae bloom. So, nothing to worry about, really. It'll correct itself. But I just wanted to show you guys, if you're taking out a whole bunch of plants and fish and disrupting things, that can easily happen. So basically we took all that out, and then my plan today is to take sand which is just pool filter sand that's been rinsed and dechlorinated after rinsing. And we're going to add a layer and essentially cap off this old substrate, freezing it in time so that it doesn't ever get old tank syndrome. You can see the iron oxidation that's already in there. There happens to be no cyanobacteria or any bad stuff going on in the tank already, which is good. So we don't really have to wait and correct or redo the substrate at all. And the same is true of this tank. If I wanted to bring this into Blackwater, it'd be really easy to do that. So we're going to do that at some point. And basically, I've got all these botanicals that I've been saving up and leaves from my own community. And then we have some sturdy plants like the Bulbitis hygrophila, which is the Asian fern, I believe. And then also, Asiatic water fern. And then we've also got some of the normal Java fern. It's all immersed growth, so it will have to transform to submerged. And then we've got a few... do we do any swords? I can't remember. But the trick was I bought them after their little expiration date, so I got a discount. And then we have a few bulbs, too, because these things are usually a pretty good deal. The water lily bulbs. So that's the deal. I mean, the water lilies are great because even in Blackwater, frequently, their energy is in their bulb. So bulbous plants, rhizome plants that don't have to always feed from the muck at the bottom of the lake, they have starch and sugar saved up in that bulb, which is plenty enough for them to get going. Like right here, we'd probably start this tank is where I like to start most of them, most of my bulbs, because it's nice and shallow and I can see when they pop. So I can see that there's a bulb there, I can see there's another one coming up here. And then also there's a lot of Aponigeton bulbs you can buy, like 3 packs for $5, where it just sprouts. But I love getting those and just tossing them in aquariums and seeing what happens, because like this plant is from one of those bulbs, which if you work it out comes out to like, maybe $1.90 a plant or something. So it's always a good deal. I always like doing that. We also do have some guys that are already acclimated to aquatic life, the life aquatic, as it were. Same with the Anubias, and these guys should all hold up in the Blackwater also. But here you can see this rhizome's a big old rhizome. If we want to plant it, think of all the starch, nutrients, minerals that have been stored in this rhizome for when it's dormant. But to the same token, in Blackwater, as long as it has some light to do photosynthesis, this same effect of the rhizome, the tuber, the bulb, it can store energy as well, which obviously that's what we're going to go for. Sometimes the hornwort in here melts, and I just take it out before the needles fall off, because we don't need hornwort needles all over our life. And by the way, the little blue lip buffalo head cichlid that's down here, his lips are bright blue. So yeah. Hey, Azure Avian 2, I was curious, is your process to pick up magnolia leaves as well as the pods and things? Because I have all these. Now we have this big magnolia tree in the backyard, flowering magnolia tree. I know there's like 30 species, but we've got one, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with those leaves. I wasn't sure if I wanted to toss them in the tank or boil some and just get the effect, because if I were to coat the whole bottom of the new tank that's going to be Blackwater with this with tannins and all that kind of stuff, it would be overkill. I would have like 4.0 water. Whereas, I've got acorn caps that I gathered last year. I still have a stash of those. And We still have tannic water up here that's been boiled down, reduced, evaporated, boiled down, reduced, evaporated, that has a pH of 3. So that's actually what's been added to these guppy tanks, as well as I'll just boil the leaves or the wood so that the tannins aren't really a factor. But these wild guppy, or not guppies, bettas, they also would like a Blackwater tank, so we'll probably do one of those too. Um, yeah, yeah, acorn caps are totally great for this purpose. So are alder cones. If you haven't seen those before, depending on where you live, they're either everywhere or you may not know what they are. So let me show you. So alder cones. Also, we've got some moringa leaves that are torn up. This is great for shrimp or for hamster bedding. No, it's good for shrimp and fish. It gets devoured so quickly. Same with the mulberry leaf. Oh my goodness. This gets just quickly, I mean, man, they go through that in a night or two. So that one to me is almost like not a, it doesn't help with tannins that much. It's just a food source. What's kind of interesting and what we'll get into when I make the second video on the wonders of Blackwater aquariums, and I'm actually going to make a video for every single one of these plants that I happen to have and that I can find any information on that I can collect locally. So there'll probably be a dozen or more different tannin options that I'm going to throw out there for people. Because there's just, to me, I mean, tannins.com has some pretty slick looking marketing, but it doesn't go that in depth with what all is at play there. And so like right here, alder cones, these are, I actually have to warn people about these. I can collect these by the barrel load. Now I got these from Aquatic Arts, and if you live somewhere with, say, palm trees and stuff, you'll probably never see these in Florida or whatnot. But if you live anywhere with grassy meadows and deciduous trees or the Rockies or the Northeast, you'll probably have alder trees all over the place. So the alder cones that fall and make a huge mess, I mean, this would not even be a branch worth. There's literally thousands of times this on each tree. I've put as few as 5 or 6 into a little 2-gallon and killed all my shrimp, all my fish in that tank overnight with alder cones. So they can be very, very, very acidifying. So you want to either boil them first or just, make sure that you slowly add them to your tanks. A thing that I really advocate, for people who've never done a Blackwater tank before is to go slow. I mean, that's always a good thing with anything you're trying new. But basically, I like to do tanks like in this one here. This is kind of half of a Blackwater tank. The water's not even really stained with tannins, but the pH is close to 6 actually. And there are cinnamon leaves, and you can see the skeletons of other leaves that just generation after generation. That's what the mulm is made out of in this aquarium, is skeletons of those leaves. Same with this one. Up here we've got the lotus pod, which is even thicker. We've got other leaves that have dissolved. So, I mean, that will result, if you don't change the water and you just do top-offs, you can actually get that to look like a nice looking tea like this. However, people oftentimes think that Blackwater tanks are mutually exclusive to tannins and Blackwater and low pH. That's what you have to do. Well, you can also have high pH and tannic water. In fact, panda loaches and a lot of the little loaches from China and Vietnam, from the Yunnan province, in particular of China, a lot of them actually come from rivers that have a high, they have a high amount of leaf debris in them. They have limestone in them. And so they get this combination of a higher TDS, but alkaline, and kind of alkaline water. And then when it rains, they're still going to stay slightly alkaline, even though the TDS could be super low. So people need to realize that those are all completely independent variables. And that you really do need to check the acidity of your water because if you're toying with these things, because it really can sneak up on you. It can be very surprising. I was surprised that this is my most alkaline tank at the moment, and especially because the gouramis are in here. And I just figured that that's kind of odd, right? There's leaves in here, there's substrate, there's wood, and there's some stone, but it's not really anything that should be active or reactive at all. You'd think the tank that's got crushed coral and sand as a substrate would be the one that would have a super high TDS. But yeah, this one, the acidity was like 7.5 or 6. And because of that fact, it's got a lot of buffering capacity. And that's why I'm going to use this tank, why I'm going to turn this tank into the Blackwater tank. That and it's rimless. And we can kind of mount a light above it. So I got this Hygger light for like $30, $39. And so we can mount that above it, and we can also get some of the plants to grow a bit immersed, or we could build like a little shelf or little potting shelves, and that will also help. But the cool thing and the sneak peek or sneak trivia fact that I'm going to let you guys in on about Blackwater tanks and the latest research that's gone on is that now they realize that the amount of acidity that occurs in Blackwater is way too high to just be from leaves and carbonic, nitric, or sulfuric acids that are nature, just decomposition based. And so they have actually done studies now. It was first hypothesized in the 70s, but they've done studies now, and they've found that actually fungi and mycelium of the fungi inundates the leaf beds and mulm of a lot of aquatic environments. And then yeasts, archaea, and fungi work together to ferment the leaves and even ferment some of the acids. And they take the acids, they take the energy out of the acids, and then they turn them into CO2 as a byproduct, and alcohol, and all sorts of different organic compounds. But that's how they think that those really ancient Blackwater ponds and rivers and things that are that have a crazy acidic level, they think that's how it builds up over time, is not actually because of that. So yeah, not because of the leaves decaying, that is. T-Bone Fishes, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. I really appreciate it. And also, Eve, thank you so much. Blackwater Fun, love, love, love the Blackwater tanks. So I really appreciate that. That helps. Like I said, I dropped a $200, which, yeah, maybe I should be buying, things like, whatever, teeth, but, for my sanity, for my happiness, sorry, I'm getting some fish, too. So, yeah, that's going on, and then also, hey, Darcy, and then this tank here is where all those aquatic arts fish are going, this rimless 90L. So it's 90 centimeter from end to end, and then it's basically 12 inches by 12 inches, 11.7 by 11.7, I think is the exact thing, because it's in centimeters. But then that tank I'll have, and I want to aquascape that one with ADA soil that has quite a bit of ammonia, nitrates, nitrogen, active substrate, if you will. And so it will take some time to cycle. I'll have to put the fish somewhere else. But that's where I want to put those purple rasboras and the lamb chop rasboras, as well as the glow light Trigonostigma rasbora family fish. So beyond that, there'll be orange and purple fish in that tank. And what I want to do is kind of Iwagumi meets the back is Dutch, the front is Iwagumi and rock. And instead of a carpet, I'm thinking maybe crypts. So maybe like low-lying crypts like Nuri and or swords like Purple Flame or a Flame, and then I'll be able to have an aquarium if we have the CO2 running on it, which is why I bought some more CO2 for my little teeny unit that I had 3-4 years ago from Fluval. Well, we're gonna try it again and hook it up and see how effective it can be on a 30-gallon aquarium, basically. Kevin asks, what fish are you going with in the Blackwater? Ruby tetras are one of my favorite. The ruby tetras are already in this aquarium right over here, but I want to look up the info on the Corridora similis as well as the panda, longfin panda Corridora, and the Venezuelan orange corridors. I have the similis, which is called the violet smudge spot cory, or violet spotted cory, and the long-finned panda cories. Both of those I have coming. I ordered those from Aquatic Arts last night live on the channel. Like I said, if you guys want to get the discount of 20% right now, plus some of the things are already discounted already in the clearance section and whatnot, plants, hardscape, all of it is it's 20% off now, and then next Friday it'll go up to 30% off, but they'll probably be selling out of a lot of it. They did add a ton. Oh, nice. ADHD, you got your linear air piston. Did you get a Gemco? So in any case, the codes for that are going to be pre-history, because it's a pre-sale for Black Friday, and they're doing that so one, people can get their orders early and or rather on time, because sometimes it gets so backed up during Black Friday time shipment wise, especially with Amazon and everything, that you end up with nothing coming on time. And if with fish, that can mean dead fish. So yeah, let's see here. Oh yeah, the Sun Danios are my other. They're one of my favorites. I bred them in a video probably 3 or 4 years ago. I am going to be in Portland this coming weekend. However, I just spent $200 plus at Aquatic Arts. So I probably won't be buying any fish. But at the Portland Aquarium Society, I'll be speaking. And maybe at their auction there'll be something that's kind of so cheap that it's affordable. ADHD, thank you so much though for the super chat, and Sally Ball's brother, thank you so much, I appreciate it. My best recommendation, says Lady Diane, is Mopani wood. Yeah, Mopani's a great one. It's a real hard wood, but it's not so hard that it's not porous. It's still actually diffuses out. I really like that wood for a wood. Obviously, you can use peat moss or sphagnum moss. Peat moss really, from an ethical standpoint, we really shouldn't be harvesting peat moss anymore. It takes so long to grow, and at the rate we harvest it, it's not a renewable resource. And the peat moss bogs and deposits are pretty much wiped out in Europe and a lot of America, as far as big portions of them existing like they used to. And yeah, Mohapani's heavy enough that it sinks right away too, which is nice. In fact, I think, do I have some Mohapani? I might have some Mohapani in here. If not, just so people know what we're talking about, I'll show you guys it in the other room. Yeah, this is a big old chunk of Mohapani, knotted wood in there. And then I'll show you what it usually comes like. It usually, sometimes it gets sold as like burl wood. This is manzanita here that has growth all over it too. And then you've got spiderwood and mopani, and those are going to be the main woods that you'll see usually in the hobby. However, sometimes, yeah, Ireland has totally used up your bogs. Sorry about that. I mean, they just had to make too much scotch in Scotland too, so too much smoke in the moss. Yeah, licorice gouramis are the ultimate blackwater fish. I think they might hold the record for the lowest pH fish. But here we have a spiderwood, piece of spiderwood. Let's kind of get that out of the way. So we got spiderwood there, and then mopani is the big old chunk wood. Not this stuff that's coming out. This is black forest wood, which is a little less common in the hobby. But mopani is this big old gnarly knot that just looks like a brick of wood almost. Like no discernible wood shape to that piece really. It's just kind of an oblong brick size thing. But you know, over here we got the lotus pod out here to sink to, and we put some little anubias and moss grafts on it, so that's good. Now I also have these sabua resplendens, and they could go in the Blackwater. But the Blackwater, the reason I want the tank, I want to kind of aquascape it nicely. Not like super fancy because there's not that many plants that hold up that well, especially in a deep form of doing that. But if you keep the pH up in the 6 to 6.4 range, then you can still have the tannic look. You can still have all that stuff that you like with that. Oh, and also here's cholla wood, obviously, but in case you didn't know, it's like a cactus dried out. More spider wood that's aged in here. But yeah. Let's see. Azuravian. All right, we got questions. All right. So your question is, if I make oak tea, how often and how much do I add for just a healthy tank? So there's different schools of thought on that. You know, how buffered is your aquarium for the first question? So do you have a TDS or a KH that's, you know, something, or are you keeping it true low TDS? Are you doing like some sort of Papua New Guinea or Pantanal type black water? Or is it more of your standard Amazonian, Orinoco, dry season black water that just forms with stagnant things, or rice paddies that overflow? So if you have some buffer, if you have a little bit of crushed coral or a little bit of cuttlefish bone, KH, and a little bit of GH, a little bit of carbon in there, and then tons of leaf litter and wood and things like that, then that's going to have enough minerality and things that it'll buffer it from swinging too much. And so I say, if you make yourself a tea like I have, or an extract, so there's two forms of the extract, and let me turn this around again. So the first form of the extract right there is for acidity. Now that is in a plastic bottle also. It could be in glass, but it's in a bottle, and it could actually eat quite a bit of organic matter quickly. But that I boiled down from alder cones and leaves, and it is boiled, and then that boiling pot of tea-colored water, I let it then evaporate, cooking at maybe 10 degrees below boiling, 10 degrees Fahrenheit below boiling. And then it just got darker and darker and darker as you do that, you know. And you can do that with, that was actually, you know, probably 10 gallons of water reduced down. So that's why it's so incredibly strong. But it's for acidity. So what I'll do is I'll take that, and then I'll mix it with the other water, which is just for the tannins, or just for, those are vinegar eels, but those are for tannins there, that dark water there. And so that will just give you the color. So if you want the color, then make the tea. Feel free to boil it, but don't reduce it over and over again. Just make it weak. If you want the color and the acidity, then basically you just add more of that. And if you want the acidity alone, then that's where you kind of make a tincture. You look up how to make a tincture. But honestly, if you're adding it and you don't know how strong it's going to be, I mean, try to do a pH test on the extract that you've made. And then if it's way off the charts low, like, you know, it's saying it's lower than a 6, then you may want to proceed carefully. You may want to get a 5-gallon bucket and, I mean, and measure this if it's something you want to routinely do. So, you know, if you have an alder cone collection or acorn collection, add a cup of it to 1 gallon of water and let it steep for, say, 2 hours. Now, a lot of people say that when you boil things, you kill all the probiotics and all the good bacteria, which could be true. However, the same could also be said about killing anything harmful, or any nematodes or flatworms or parasites that could potentially be there. Probably not going to get parasites from, you know, dried leaves necessarily, but it is possible. There are quite a few things that go dormant and dry out and form eggs or cysts in leaves if they were somewhere wet on the ground. Now, if you pulled them off the tree and dried them, then that's a different story. There's a very low chance of them having anything on them. But you also want to make sure that there's no pesticides or anything like that either. So, there's that. Let's see here. Jason, have a good one, buddy. Take care. Amy Lou, good to see you. I'm glad you're popping in. Mickey M, have you found any stats on different fungus species following with imported wood or different species of trees? You know, that's a tough one. There is not actually any literature that I can find on that, other than if it's like rot, like pine rot or something like that. And in that case, they will name the species of it, but it's not super helpful because it's usually invasive. So it could be from anything in the world. So just knowing what makes a healthy ecosystem, that's really new research. And nurseries have been doing it, and they've found that, like Douglas fir trees, they need to be inoculated with a specific fungus, and it's not a mushroom. It's a fungus that doesn't ever really fruit a mushroom body. It fruits spores and a fruiting body, but it's so small that it doesn't look like a mushroom. Now, underwater, we have the same thing, and if you put a fresh piece of wood under water in your aquarium, in a cycled aquarium, you'll see this white slime that forms on the outside. Now, that's cellulose, and that's also pectin sometimes, and it's also the biofilm that's made out of basically protoplasm, which is the science fiction sounding constituent of most cells. They have this jello-y stuff that is that all the organelles float around in, called protoplasm. And so that'll come out, and then little fungi will start to eat on it, and that's where you'll see the really milky color rather than the kind of opaque clear colors. You'll start to see really milky stuff. Sometimes you can even see purple. Purple's a really common color for things to turn if there's silica in the water, and the only reason we know that is that diatomaceous algae forms because of silica, and we find that there is silica present when we find that purple on the wood usually. That's just an observation from the hobby, not even something officially put out. Yeah, green tea can be used for tannins. There are a lot of things. Azure Avian says, my tanks usually test pretty consistently, 7.6 to 7. So that's still a decent range. If you have tanks that are around 7 without too much TDS, then I would say, add a cup to a pint of the extract per 20 gallons or so and see how that does. I mean, just if you do the math, even if it was 2%, or I mean 2 pH, putting a cup or a pint of it into a 20 gallon is gonna, it's not gonna bring down the pH like crazy with the extract. Now, if you have a 2.5 gallon aquarium and you put a pint in there, that could make a big difference. So the bigger the aquarium, the more room you have to play with and see. But the other thing is you want to make sure that you wait for any possible dechlorinator to wear off. So if you've done a water change or anything, that can throw off where you think things are. And another interesting thing that a lot of people don't seem to know is that if your pH is lower than 6.0, then ammonia becomes ammonium, and it's far less harmful for fish. It can't necessarily get the ions it needs kicked loose because the water is already an acid. And so there's this kind of weird thing that happens. And that's why sometimes when shipping fish in acidic water like that, it'll get opened and exposed to the air, it'll get aerated, and the pH will either spike or drop depending on what the KH and GH are doing. And people lose fish in shipping by that path. Rico Stan, thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate it. And Azure Avian too, thank you for the $3. Really appreciate that too. But Rico says, my supper dish, my succotash wish. Oh, okay, come on, really, Rico? That groove so deep, something too. My supper dish, my succotash wish. No, I couldn't ask for another. I couldn't ask for another. Groove is in the heart. Oh, groove is in the heart. Oh, groove is in the heart. Oh. All right, there, you got it. Are you happy, Rico? You make me sing every freaking stream. I can't help it. You know that. This is an abuse of power on your part, sir. An abuse, I say. Man, that music video is real stuck in my head. With that chick with the red hair. Delicious. And what was her name? She had a side project and it was awful. Yeah, they do make, here Fishy, they totally make an electronic pH meter. Now, they make some cheap ones, and I like the cheap ones enough. I mean, they're usually within 0.5. Now, what you need to know is the problem that 0.5 doesn't mean the same thing at each level. It's just like the Richter scale, and this topic gets way more complex, and I would do it a disservice probably because I'm sure I'm going to get something wrong. But when the pH is 5.5 and it drops to 5, that's an order of magnitude more difference than if it's a 6.0 and it goes to 6.5. So, say 7 is neutral, well then 8 is 10% above neutral, whereas 9 is 100% above neutral, 100% stronger. So let me say that better. Percentages are probably harder. So say it's 1 part acidity at 8 and it's 0 at 7. Well, then by the time you get to 9, it's 10 parts acidity. By the time you get to 10, it's 100 parts acidity. 1,000, then 100,000. And it goes up, you get it. So, same with acidity going the other way too. So it is, yeah, it's exponential, which kind of is mind-boggling, because if you think that it's a big leap between 7 and 6, taking it down to 5 is 10 times more of a leap. Yes, it's an order of magnitude, exactly. Let's see here. ADHD says, the pH confuses me. I heard Father Fish talk about how it's pressures and stuff on the fish. I don't get it. I thought I got it, but I don't got it. Well, don't worry. It can work a lot of different ways. Yeah, and also, Kevin, you're totally right. Don't get me wrong, all these fancy aquascapes look pretty, but in no way are they natural. That is very true in a lot of cases. The competition that I like more is the Biotope Scape competition, which Ivan Mikolji and Jeremy Wade was another person involved. Basically, people who have traveled all over the world get to judge it. Aquarius, who've traveled all over the world. Heiko Blair has one. And they do a biotope. And it's literally, it might be very boring. A lot of rivers are boring. They're not exciting. It's sand and it's 2 species of plants, you know? And that's it. And so that's where you want to be accurate. Well, you might get a boring tank. And, you know, in our aquascape competition, who was it? Texas Fish Keeper had an incredible tank that looked just like the banks of the Rio Grande, or maybe it wasn't the Rio Grande, but a river down in Texas. Hardly any plants. There were a few immersed and a few here and there. But the rocks, the layering deposition of the stone, it all looked perfect. And a lot of people may have looked at that and thought he didn't do anything. But to me, I mean, for the fish's reality, him going to the river, getting it, and that, you know, putting a Texas fire cichlid in there, boom, that is their home. They want those rock slabs rather than a cave and stuff like that. I just realized that Ladies' Night is beginning, and that is Mary Page, Roxanne, Foxy's Fishes, and a host of other wonderful women who I highly respect. So I'm going to get off here pretty soon, but I just wanted to say hi tonight because I usually stream tonight, and I know I streamed last night. But in all fairness, it was a bit of an ad. If you weren't into aquatic arts, then you probably weren't interested in the stream. I mean, we're kind of going over stuff that they happen to be carrying. Yeah, Jason from Prime Time explains pH pretty well. I've done other videos where I explain TDS and pH, but the problem is that there's a basic pH talk that I could give you, and then there's the truth of what happens when the TDS is different, or if there are if there's heavy like even the CO2 level in the water, for instance, turns into carbonic acid in real time. So does the nitrogen from our atmosphere, and our atmosphere is mostly nitrogen. And so those things, that because of that, when more oxygenated a tank is, the more the pH will drop. And so that's why sometimes stagnant ponds can have calmer pH and everything. But when they get agitated, it all of a sudden interacts with all the carbon that's free in the plants and leaf debris. And you'll get these crashes if there aren't calcium and carbon ions ready to, or hydrogen for that matter, because ions are measured in the amount of electrons per hydrogen molecule. But we don't need to go into all of that right now. I can, though, in a video, if you guys would be interested. Let me know in the comments later after this video posts. Rachel Games says, and hey, Alan, what's going on, brother? Secrets, you live in your aquarium. How often do you change out lotus pods? Do they even need to be taken out and changed, like catappa leaves? No, they don't. I mean, they will fall apart. They're organic, but they don't really lose their structural integrity for quite a while. Some people will get a year out of it. It's gonna pretend. It's gonna matter how. It's really gonna matter how your acidity is and how the water flow is, and if you have certain bacteria that's eating away at it, or if you have rhizome plants that are growing into it, if you have fish that are picking algae off of it, or snails that are picking algae off of it. If you don't have any of that, then I mean, if it were in a low oxygen, neutral water situation, that thing would probably never dissolve. Just like bogs can preserve things, because if there's no oxygen, there's no breakdown via biological forces. Um, the other thing that's happening in this aquarium is I just noticed I got this new twin starlight I told you guys about, which was on sale for 84 bucks, mailed free and everything, at uns.com. They had two of them. And this light, it's the lowest power of the twin stars, but yet in less than a week of being on there, it's already started to grow back the filamentous algae. A lot of times I'll put this algae just right into my flower pots and it just becomes humus, earth, soil quickly. But yeah, so I can see certain things are coming back algae wise. So we're going to have to recalibrate. We're going to have to increase the dosage of the liquid fertilizers, and then we're going to have to turn up the CO2 and turn the hours of light down, but the strength of light up. So we'll probably throw an extra light on it. But I have a whole video on can too dark, or can algae be caused by too dim of light or darkness? Let's see here. Ray Cooper, my water is 7.4 to 7.5. Light tannins, driftwood, and almond leaves. I'm adding 18 blue-eyed forktail rainbows. Right on. Furcata rainbows, pseudomagills, they're really a great fish. And the only thing I would say is you've got light tannins, but your pH is up there. Now they are, I mean, not up there high, but they don't like anything. Maybe they can take an 8, but I think 7.5 is closer to what they like. But yeah, they can be found in rivers that are in Indonesia and stuff that are made on, or the Aru Islands that are coral, in Papua New Guinea that are coral and limestone and shell. I mean, that's what rose up out of the Earth's crust. And then there's some basalt and stuff on a lot of those islands because they're volcanic. But a lot of them are atolls and islands from that. And if you're gonna, oh yeah, add dwarf neon rainbows. Yeah, you can totally do that. I would say if you're gonna do that, just know that sometimes they can be a little mean, the males. So I would get two females per male if you're gonna do that, and then just give them enough space so that they have something as a visual break between one another. So even if it's just a stick, or even if it's floating plants, that'll really help. And since pseudomagills hang out at the top, they'll jump. So will praycocks in theory. Another good plant could be one of these. Real low maintenance, doesn't need a high-tech light or anything. But if you get a bulb for a dwarf lily or a normal lily, this is a normal lily here, that can work really well. And like we have in this tank, we've got the luminatus with the furcata, but they also work really well with pencilfish. But as you can see, I leave a good 4 inches, maybe even 5, so that they don't jump. Because if they do flashing at all with their fins, on Instagram I posted a picture of the main king male of the tank was getting challenged by the secondary male. And all the females were like on one side watching the two of them just show off their finnage and spiral around one another. And they were waiting to see what would happen. But the oldest male has fins that are double the width of the younger male that challenged him. And he was able to dance for 2 hours. I checked on them. They were still going at it. So it's pretty incredible to watch when that happens. Now down here, half-beaks are another fish that you can put with them. They're live bears though, and their babies will get eaten by either them or the other fish. So if you want to breed them, you want to be careful and pull them out as soon as you see babies, or even when you see a pregnant mother. Like that's what I did, and I've been putting them up there. And my survival rate of these half beaks has been way higher. But these are Gertrude Aru 2s, and those are actually on Aquatic Art's website right now. So if you use that all caps, no spaces code of prehistory BF for Black Friday 20 right now, you can get those, and I'm pretty positive those are Gary Lang. And you can see how they're a nice yellow color and then with white. Whereas a lot of these Pseudomagil Gertrude, I mean, these almost look like frickatas. The way they've got the white on them with the bright, bright banana yellow um, or lemon yellow. Whereas other strains and collection points of them will be more of, say, like a silvery color, or yeah, I'm trying to think, do I have any other kind of more like the thread fins, but my thread fins are hiding right now, I guess. But yeah, I think that that'll be a good environment for them. um, let's see here. Are those bulbs at Petco? Yeah, they're decent. I mean, you don't always get a good one. Sometimes you get stanky butt onion plants, these things. And these are pretty useless plants. Ta-da! You're looking at everything that this plant does, other than kind of looks like a clove of garlic and then splits. But these plants are real lame. Other than that, though, the other plants you can get out of there are decent. Like it's a crapshoot. But this one, Longiplumulosis, Ulvasis, Crispus, those all come out of the Aponigeton one. So you either want to get the Aponigeton one or the mixed bulb one. Oh, look at this. They've got, well, you missed it. But they, the gobies in here, the Stiphodons, have spawning colors up. So what I was going to say is most Gertrudes have the color of that fish right there, that thread fin. The body is that silvery kind of olive silver color, and they have bright blue eyes or green eyes, like a Pacific, like Ivanstov is another one of these Pseudomagills. But yeah, oh, actually, you're actually seeing Tinwinny Danios flare off, showing off, which is really rare. They don't do that very often. Usually it's first thing in the morning and only for a few minutes a day. But these two are sizing up one another. And they're two males. You can tell by their anal fin being so big and decorated, sizing up each other. But yeah, so these thread fins, well, it's shy, so it's hiding. Yeah. The thread fins, though, are another good one, but they also have, obviously, threaded fins that are very fragile. Let's show one. Stay still. So this is the female. She doesn't have the big long ones, but when they show off, the males are extraordinary. But these little threads, they can get chewed on quite a bit by sometimes the dwarf. Oh, sorry guys, I'm so zoomed in. By the dwarf prey crux rainbows, the little neon dwarf rainbows. Those ones can kind of be nippy and sometimes get at the little fin flares of the other. There's the tank male, the boss right here. This is the boy who's in charge. If you look at Instagram, I posted the picture of him all inflated and his fins all fully up. It's really amazing. You're like, where did those extra fins come from? But yeah. Well, I feel as though I need to get off of here pretty soon and allow the ladies to have time and not stamp over their time. We got the little Trilineatus female Episto in here. So far, so good on these. These guys, I don't know. I'll have to ask Mick how low of pH these guys like, or are happy to go down to. But so far, nobody's really pairing off. I don't know if they're just too young, if they don't like the tank. I mean, they've got all these little huts. They've got some rock ledges. They've got lots of Sawassertang to hide themselves, and they've got live shrimp to eat all day long. Like up there, you can see them. And they were eating a lot of those, and now they kind of don't seem to care. They're like over it. But I would love it if they would spawn. I mean, they color up and the males kind of show off, but I haven't seen any behavior with the females kind of courting or courting the males or vice versa at all. This guy though, he's been ready to spawn ever since Vanity's been put in here. So ever since the angelfish got put in the tank, she's hiding back there right now. But he's ready to spawn. He's been bright and colorful. The females think he's colored up for them, so they were colored up earlier. And he doesn't want his own species. He wants the angelfish, which is unrequited love. It's a sad thing, eh? The other thing, I might put these gals, these powder blue gouramis may end up in the Blackwater tank. We'll see. Not with these guys, but these guys will probably be the test subjects because I have 50 babies. So if something were to happen, as sad as that would be, I feel like I've done my job to keep their lineage going. Right here, here's that Trilineatus male. Well, he's gonna disappear too. All right, guys, let me turn this back around on me because it's all about me, really, in the end, right? Guys, thank you so much for tuning in as always. Boy, it's hot in here. And if you have any more questions, you can always drop them in the comments. And I try to get to every comment if I can. I really try hard at that. Hope you guys like the pace of the videos that have been coming out lately. Going down to Portland next week if you're down there, or this coming week. So if you're down there and you want to hear me talk for an hour and a half about the history of fish keeping and some of the bizarre things that have shaped it, feel free to come out to the greater Portland area Aquarium Society. GPAS, GUPAS is what they like to call it. But yeah, I'll be down there, and let's see here. Mick says Trifasciatus usually don't need low pH to spawn. Neutral is fine. Darn, I wanted to have to put them in a tannic tank. Eve says, thanks, Alex. I love your wild planted tanks. Never cease to amaze me how you manage to put everything together. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I try lots of combinations, and then I sit and I watch for hours. And if it doesn't work, I change something. The next night, I'll come and I'll watch again. And so, that's... For me, it's like meditation. It's like education. It's just fun. So yeah, I mean, I that's the part of the hobby I enjoy is discovering like, oh, pea puffers and goodeids. I wouldn't have thought they would have gotten along, but they get along great so far. Probably babies won't get along, but yeah. All right, well, I'm going to leave, but I would recommend, if you guys haven't checked them out and you'd like to check them out, a channel that can always use a little love because she's got a lot of love to give. It would be Foxy's Fishes. If anybody, do we have any mods in here? It's called Ladies Night, and usually Jess from the Aquatic Morning Show, and sometimes Salt Lake City, Susan from Salt Lake City Aquariums is there. Or Jess, sometimes Shanna from 503 Aquatics is there. But I like Ladies Night, and I don't want to be running over too much of their time. So if you guys want, why don't you just pop over to their stream? Hopefully someone will post a link in the chat because I can't. To their stream, but it is on, I think it's on Roxanne's channel, so Foxy's Fishes, Foxies, apostrophe S, Fishes, and you'll see that it's a live stream, so it's called Ladies Night. I'm going to head over there, but hashtag... secret raid or something like that. Let's do that if you want to join me over there. But I'm gonna head over there. I'm gonna say hashtag secret history raid, and 503 Aquatics for Ladies Night tonight. Thank you, Ryan. It's on 503. Thanks, guys. So go to 503 Aquatics if you want to join me. Thank you so much. Aquaballs, you posted Foxy's. That's who usually seems to host it, but I guess I'm wrong this time. It's on 503 Shanna's channel. She does Saturday morning cartoons, which is one of my favorite little active things. But I like to support the other channels. And by the way, if you've never checked out Aquaballs, he does ball pythons and aquarium stuff, and he has far surpassed any of my breeding skills. When we met, I would say we were pretty equal in our hobby, but George has gone above and beyond. He is a guy in the know, and he has a lot of great fish for sale too. So he's a good guy to watch to see what's available for sale. But Aquaball's channel, if you're not subscribed or if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. His live streams, his talks. He's a really kind guy and a really good guy. All right, guys, I'm gonna head over to the ladies' night on Shanna's channel, 503 Aquatics, and I'll see you there. Hashtag secret raid, secret history raid. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. Thanks for the questions. Thanks, lurkers, chatters. You know who you are. Thank you all so much. I'll be back on Friday when craziness is going on, and I'm headed down to Oregon. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.